You are tuned in to a Fireside chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Greetings and welcome to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. I'm your host, Lance White. Tonight, my old friend, Mahala Gayle, returns to do another show. Mahala is an astrologer, writer, lecturer, minister, and one of the founders of the Asclepius Light Center. She has been the editor of the Asclepius Light Center newsletter since 1988 and writer-editor of the monthly Planet Alert articles. Planet Alert articles have appeared in many publications, and Mahala continues to bring together numerous elements of astrology, prophecy, and mystical studies into a cohesive picture. So, let's welcome Mahala back to the show now. Hi, Mahala. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for inviting me on your show again.
Oh, it's always wonderful to have you back, and it seems like just enough time passes that a lot has happened, and you have fresh insights for us on the energies and the stars and the prophecies and all of that. So we've made it to 2011. I'm going to just start out by asking you, what now?
Oh, wow. Well, a whole lot. And would you believe that we're already in February? That January is already gone? I mean, I just can't believe how fast time is going.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
then,
thought we were in January. See,
right.
That's how fast it's going.
I thought it was still Christmas.
Where's my presents?
Right, yeah. Well, this major thing, what's going on right now was more or less generated by what happened in December. And that was so interesting because I had a dream in February of 2010 that the solstice would be the end of a 26,000-year cycle. And I was told to be prepared for it, for the time coming up. And I thought, well, what's that all about? That was way back in February. And then when I got an email on December 21st, or was it 22nd, and it showed the USGS earthquake charts, and the earth was quaking all over the world at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I had been told a long time ago that when you see the whole earthquake, that you know that the change is here. Mm-hmm. And so that's what was happening. Well, what was happening was that a magnetic shift was going on. And the magnetic pole shift is not a one-day thing, because I think they started measuring it when it started to move, I think it was in 1997. In 1998, I was made aware of it when the Earth first went to zero magnetics for a short period of time. And so it started out because, like, the magnetic north was lined up with Hudson Bay in Canada, and then it was headed across the Atlantic for Siberia. And so it went in segments. And so it's been quite a while since 1997. Well, actually, that was 13 years from 1997 to 2010. I wonder if that's a cycle. Anyways, and on the day that the magnetic shift happened, an airplane crashed in Surgut, Siberia. And so I think that's pretty much where the magnetic pole must be right now, because that area was right in the energy.
Okay.
And then the Tampa airport, like if you look at where Hudson Bay is on the map and you draw a line, straight down south, it goes right down through Tampa. And so for some reason, both of the old, where the old pole was and the new pole is, were activated at the same time, which I found very interesting. But the magnetic pole, I mean, there's a whole lot more to it than meets the eye, And then I got this email just this morning, and let me read a paragraph in here. Okay. And this is a man who's detecting things with his machines, And it says, my detector has shown large swings in the baseline over the course of the past week, as well as swings in local magnetic flux density. Some of these swings occur in a more or less regular pattern, but not always. To me, this is further evidence of a magnetic disturbance caused from the sun transiting the magnetic plane of the Milky Way. The magnetic disturbance of the Milky Way magnetic plane disturbs the sun, which disturbs the sun's magnetic field. The solar magnetic field then disturbs the magnetic fields of the surrounding planets and minor bodies. The disturbance of the Earth's magnetic field causes earthquakes, volcanic heating, changes in the weather, and ocean currents. The changes in the weather will affect the moods and health of those living on the Earth. I think the disturbance in Egypt is just the beginning of a much greater manifestation of changes to come. Although these moods effects are subtle and can be overcome through will, the longer they occur, the more disruption. And so that's kind of how the mechanics of the magnetic field works. And so I don't know, a lot of people are aware of, like, when we have activity from the sun, and the sun's actually, it sends its solar wind to Earth, and then the solar wind kind of runs the engine in the core of our Earth, and then that affects different things. And so with that going on, I mean, people's moods, have become very, very dynamic. And especially when the planet Uranus, along with Mars, is in Aquarius, which is the rebellious planet, the rebellious sign. And the last time Uranus was in Aries was in the roaring 20s.
And that was just before the crash of the big
stock market,
wasn't it?
Yes. Yes. And so
if there's any analogy there.
Right. And so that's kind of like what we're entering into right now. And so we're feeling the first effects of it from the Sun and Mars together in Aquarius. And then the people, feel the effects, especially like when you have a solar eclipse. It sets a certain energy over an area. It's like a magnetic effect there, too.
Okay.
And so the solar eclipse on January 4th was over North Africa and the Middle East. That's where the darkness was. And so that's, it always sets up events that happen a little later, and that wasn't that much later, just a couple of weeks later. Yeah. So anyways, then when the Sun and Mars went into Uranus, that was what triggered it, And so with that, it's kind of like what I was thinking about when I saw this was like a repeat of the Moses drama, Because, like in the story, if you reread the story of Moses, there were a whole lot of earth events going on, and what they called the plagues at that time. And then the children of Israel had been held hostage, and they kept calling to the president of Egypt, let us go, we want to be free. And isn't that exactly what they're doing right now?
Yes, you're right.
And so then on the spring equinox coming up here shortly, it's on the celebration of Purim, and that is a celebration of the Israelis being set free. And so it's not only the Israelis, the word Israel is symbolic, the word Israel is actually like the children of light, type of thing.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like the whole world being free, not just the Egyptians, but mainly it's manifesting, they're the ones that are playing out our drama, and so it's manifesting over in the Middle East countries. And so there are a lot of those countries that are rioting, right now. It's not only Egypt, it's Tunisia, the Ivory Coast off of western South Africa, Yemen, Sudan, and even the country in Russia, the one that was, they had a war there, how do you pronounce that? Chechen or not, I'm not getting the right word.
Oh,
but
right.
anyways, it's a little country that...
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yes, right, yeah. So that whole area is being kind of lit up with rebellious energy.
Mm-hmm.
And also when I saw that what was going on in Egypt, I thought, well, this is the indigos, because they keep talking about how it's the younger people under 30.
No, yeah, right.
And
that would be the indigos.
And they started it through the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's so many of them. They're out of work, and they have a hard time fitting in with the social structure as it is to start with. And so they're very rebellious by nature because they want a better place to live.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they want to bring in the new age, and so this is one way of getting people's attention, and say, okay, it's time for freedom. We want freedom. And then there's another thing that happened, too, in January, and that was at the full moon of January 19th, and that's when the platinum ray was sent to Earth. Now, the platinum ray is an extremely high-frequency ray. In fact, like platinum, like just the metal platinum on Earth, it's a higher... Yeah, it's rare, and it's a higher frequency than gold is.
Mm-hmm.
And so the platinum ray is like the goddess creator ray. It's like Kali, the destroyer goddess.
Okay.
Because when it comes across the earth, it pulls out everything that needs to be brought to the surface.
Okay.
Like anything that might be dark within you or dark within the earth that needs to be brought to the light so it can be looked at and then the changes can happen.
Oh, okay.
And so this is happening, too, on top of everything else that's going on out there.
Ah. Will this be indefinite, or...
I think so. I think it's here. I think it's here to totally draw out all of the negativity so it can be transformed into light.
Well, we can certainly see that happening in the world around us at the level of, at the physical level. Things do seem to be getting darker, and the manifestations of the dark are becoming much more obvious and bold.
Yes, right, yeah. And then there's another thing, too, because, like, I do the Bible prophecies, with Revelations. Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting because I've been watching for years, how we've been going through the Revelation and how one thing just happens right after another. Mm. And so in March of 2003, March 19th, is when Bush went into Iraq, and we started the war. Mm-hmm. And then that was a 7-year cycle. And so just this past August is when Obama came out and said that, okay, we're bringing our troops home from Iraq now, and set up the schedule for it. And so that was the 7-year cycle. Mm. And so the war in Iraq, because that was called Babylon. Mm. Mm-hmm. And so that was the whole 7-year cycle related to the 17th and 18th chapter of Revelation. Mm. And then the 19th. And so now we have the 19th. And then, so when I look at that one, some people, they say, okay, the white horse appears in heaven, Mm. And I say, well, the white ship appears in heaven. Mm. and so that's the beginning of the 19th. But after that, and I had been watching this, and it talks about a war, starting at the end of the 19th chapter, and I thought, oh no, I don't want another war. I said, maybe we're high enough frequency that we won't have to have a war. But I think it's working out with the rebellions that are going across the North Africa and the Middle East. Mm-hmm. So I think that will be part of the 19th chapter. And then the 20th is everything being brought to the light so it can be transformed. And then the 21st is the new heaven and the new earth. So we're really, really, really close to moving into the new heaven and the new earth. And the energy is actually, the frequency of the energy is high enough now that for those that are ready can move into the joy and happiness of that energy. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of hard. Sometimes it's kind of hard to stay in that energy when